It's a nine-chord banger. Dr. Ross dropping knowledge to the masses. Man, you now tuned in to purpose and practice. Ayy, yeah, purpose and practice. Keep your mental sharp, learn all the tactics. Dr. Ross dropping knowledge to the masses. Man, you now tuned in to purpose and practice. Ayy, yeah, purpose and practice. Podcast game, ayy, he got it mastered. It's encore. It's a nine-chord banger. Dr.
Yo. Peace to the family. Those of you who will support the program Purpose and Practice with Dr. Rawls Dill, I am your host. We are back and we are in full effect. I just wanted to take a moment, before we even get into the show, where we showcase the talents of what we call ordinary people doing extraordinary things. I wanted to take a moment. There was, last night I had shared something on social media in terms of some of the things that personally, my family is going through. And I wanted to, give a huge shout out to those of you who have come up in support for that. Now, what time it is, on the show, what we do. We're about bringing those live stories of people in our community who are stepping up and doing big things. And today or tonight, we got somebody who I've had on my radar for quite a long time. And I was like, I got to get the brother on. He's doing big things. And this is one of the brothers that, I was like, people need to hear this story. I'm familiar, not totally familiar, but somewhat familiar with the brother's story. And it's an inspirational one, based on the moves that he has made and based on the trials and tribulations that he has overcome, and that's real talk. So if you tuning in tonight, you're going to hear from a brother that's doing like major things. And I think it's a lot to be learned, from this brother's journey. So with that said, we got the chef, Chris Burnett, in the house. How you feeling, fam?
Feeling good, man. Feeling real good, brother.
That's what's up. Yo. I was like, real talk, right? I was like, how am I going to get Chef on the show? Because and I was talking to Chef before, and I was like, it's so many people doing dope things right now in our community and showcasing them. It's a lot. Like when I tell you my calendar is full of folks to get on the show, which is a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's straight up beautiful. And you were definitely one of those brothers, man. So one of the things, Chef, Chris, what we like to do is, when we start off on the show, because Purpose and Practice, it's about finding out like the process, like, how folks move from, growing up to going through situations that may have been traumatic, that may have been painful, that may have been hard to overcome, and then reaching a point of like, how you get that feeling like I made it, like I'm doing the things that I dreamed of doing, or I'm doing the things that I never dreamed of doing. You know what I'm saying? Like I never thought like this, but I like to go back and find out, some of those background stories, because I think it's important for us to hear those background stories. So with that said, man, now that you checked in, you said you're feeling good, everything is great. Open up. Tell us a little bit about, what it was like, being, a young Chris growing up, how you grew up, where you grew up, some of the things you experienced, brother.
Oh, man. First of all, man, appreciate you having me on the show, man. I know you've been trying to get me on as like some type of link up for a while now, man. And I've been like, I've just been patient, man, because I know that's something that you've been wanting to do. So I'm glad I'm here, man. Like, better late than never.
True.
Glad I'm here. But about me, man, you talking about the early years of me, I grew up Long Branch, born and raised, Monmouth Avenue, Liberty Street. You know, I grew up right in the hood, you know,
True.
like around the corner, 10, 15 feet from, you know, where everybody was at. And if anybody who was anybody, you know what I mean, I know them. You know what I mean? Education started then, man. Started home and started right there in Long Branch, you know, like I just been a sponge to everything, you know, growing up with mom. I never knew my dad, my real father.
Wow.
So my stepdad met my mom on the beach. I remember that day, and he was dad since. He stepped in, and you know, he was the man in my life, and showed me what it was like. I don't know what it's like to miss a real dad, because you know, my stepdad was always there. You know, someone telling me that it wasn't my biological, but you know, but he's been dad. You know, school was important. My mom was very, very strict and chastising. Um, you know, funny thing is, like, you know, I used to like school, but didn't like school. But you know, I knew I had to take my behind to school every day, and you know, I got my ass whooped. So I don't know if I cuss, but I got my ass whooped so many times. You know, so many times for doing dumb stuff, man. You know, a lot of dumb stuff just growing up, and forging signatures from school, you know, just being dumb, you know. My mom signed it, knowing that they'll call and say, "Did you sign it?" And they go, well, "Here's a signature." And then, you know, I know a whooping was coming, man. Everything from stealing food, all type of stuff, man. I was just doing dumb stuff, but you know, I grew up right on Liberty Street, man. Now, like I said, I was a sponge to a lot of things. I always wanted to learn. I always was just glued to stuff, man. You know, from everything. Like it may seem weird to people, but I used to just gravitate to things that people wouldn't gravitate to, and just like wondering why that is the way it is, or you know. But I always love like.
Go ahead. No, you good. You love what? Talk to it.
I used to, you know, I loved cooking, man, and I started like paying attention to moms. You know, she would be in the kitchen cooking stuff, so I would, you know, be all in her face and get too close to her, and she smacked me, "Get out of here, go wait till you know
wait till it's ready, right?"
Done, you know. But you know, I ain't pay attention because I wanted to learn. I wanted to know why is it so good that I gotta be here? I'm willing to get whooped every time you say leave. That I want to know what you doing. You know what I'm saying? I want to know like what are you putting in that chicken though? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm in here ready to get whooped every time you tell me. But you know, it's you know, I grew up like being very close to my grandmother and my mom, and seeing, you know, learning, because she used to work at Marlboro State Hospital as a supervisor in the kitchen. My dad used to work at as a supervisor for Marlboro State Hospital. So, you know, I had the structure in the house, man. I had the structure. I was around, you know, around strict people, things like that. So, you know, I had both parents, man. Up until like December '92. Unfortunately, my mom was she was taken from this world. She was murdered out here in Long Branch. Very, very tough. You know, right days before Christmas. You know, so that kind of just you know, shook up history for me. You know, the future. It shook it up. You know, like, you know, what is a kid supposed to do now? You know, like where all my dreams, everything I wanted to do it for her, do it to make her smile and be proud of me. And you know, like I said, I was her firstborn, her only child up until my little brother, and then, you know, my world just shifted like ridiculously. So,
I couldn't imagine.
I think everything kind of spiraled down from there, man. Yeah, everything spiraled down from there.
You dropped a lot, bro. I couldn't even imagine, you know, especially how you broke it down, and you ain't even get heavy into it, you know, the influence your mom obviously had on you growing up, and then even so had on you and what you're doing right now, you know what I'm saying, in the world. And then for her to be taken away, untimely taken away from you, I couldn't imagine. I never knew that. So if you can, you went back and you gave us like a complete story of like kind of like coming up, and you talked about having both parents. It wasn't your biological parent, your father rather, but it was you described as your stepfather who really stepped in, and you never even felt a void. When if you could talk a little bit about the relationship that you had with your stepfather specifically, in terms of being a young man, if you don't mind sharing some of those, experiences that you had.
Oh, no problem, man. I never knew what, like I said, I never knew what it was like to miss a father, because he was always there. Um, Up until, you know, my dad and mom kind of not, went their separate ways, but even when they did, you would never know because he was always there. Um, but it like when I tell you it was as if he never went nowhere, but like still around. Like it wasn't none of that court or anything. None of that. It was I don't. It wasn't. It was like are we gonna make things work? And if they had that discussion, it never. I remember my mom said, get out. Don't get out. And he wouldn't leave, because he's like, I got kids here. I remember him saying, I got kids here. And my brother was really young then. But my dad was a great guy, man. Unfortunately, back in August, I don't know if you've seen my post, but my dad passed away on the 21st of August of this year. His birthday was the 23rd. He would have been 70.
Wow.
But you know what, man? He was a great man. Like he was a great man. Back when they had the armory, the armory of the beach over there. Back,
I remember that
a long time ago. So you gotta be an 80s baby to know this.
Yo, we used to go pick up the bullets. We used to go pick up because they used to play war down there. And
they used to pick them up outside.
True. Yes, they used that M16 because my dad was an army dude. So he would take us there. There'd be food. Like I remember once a year they'd have this big celebration, and that was the first time. Yo, word is bomb. That's the first time I had shrimp. I was probably like 10. And I remember it being like this cocktail sauce. I never had cocktail sauce. And I was like, oh my God, this is so good. And then they would go and put on like this exposition outside on the beach. And it would be like the little kids would just go run picking up all of the shells to the blanks that they shot. Is that what that's what you're talking about, right?
Bro, I was there. My dad that was like his base right there.
Wow.
Like I remember sitting on the rock outside while they would go in, and it was painted with painted Army National Guard and stuff like that, because that's what it was, the National Guard building.
True.
But yeah, my dad was a great man, and he was in the Army and then he worked. So all I knew is structure. Like if you got one way to live and live with a purpose, find another way to do it as well. Like my dad bestowed that on me. My mom did that too. Never giving up, always having a job, always having a way to get money other than your check. Like making sure that everything was right in the house. So like my dad was a guy who he will always talk to me. He would take me everywhere. He would keep me around individuals that he knew that he worked with, like Junie Buffalo. Shout out to him, man. He used to always have, because that was his buddy. He always said that was his buddy. And being around strong individuals, around that time, and being around that structure helped me see, like, like no one's missing, you know, like I said, I don't know what it was like to miss,
not to
you
have.
know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So,
Yes.
but like, he was always there, always like told me what the right and wrong things to do. You know, I grew up in the '80s, bro, so it was whoopings back then. They don't do that now. So you know, we had to we learned off the belts and the whoopings and the
True.
punishments for 7 days straight. You know what I'm saying? So confined to bedroom. So you know, it was either that or listen and learn. You
True.
know, pay attention to mom and dad. Like you know, get to school and pay attention in there. You know, like I
True.
said, we
And
grew
handle
up in
your
the era
business.
like you didn't know your parents wasn't just in the house. Your parents was the neighbors or your people around the corner or whoever your mom was, because you do something around the corner, best believe,
It was coming
you know,
back.
mom's gonna find out. Yeah, so it was like it literally was a village back in Long Branch. So I'm talking about the old Long Branch. So you had those we had those parents that you was listening and learning and being very attentive to.
And
You
putting
know,
it in and putting it in. Like so, yo, and I know some of your dad posts and your posts with your daughter are like they're powerful. And I know you take this dad thing serious. Like you girl dad, you're a girl
yeah, a little
dad.
bit.
You take it serious, man. Talk about, and you were on this girl dad thing before it was a hashtag like that, like even before we got that hashtag, which is a brilliant hashtag. I'm a girl dad myself, but you was doing that, man. This is what you were doing. Can you talk a little bit about the relationship building with your daughter, and even reflecting on some of like how you were inspired to be a good dad? Did it come easy to you, real talk, or was it something that you had to work at?
Man, I'm still working at it, man. You know,
True.
like it's I'm still a student, you know. Like it's a learning process, man. It's not it's mentally, it's spiritually, it's emotionally, you know, like sometimes you ain't doing everything right. You know, sometimes in certain people's eyes, you're not doing everything right, and then you got to look to it, like you know, question yourself or second guess, like maybe am I? Do I need to do things better here? You know, or sometimes you got to listen to. Sometimes you got to listen to other fathers, see what they're doing. I listen to the other parent. Um, but it's all about it's like your show. It's about like the purpose and the practice, man. It's like you guys are constantly practicing it, you know, so you can find what it is that you do. Some people are they're just people who made kids, you know, and then
Oh no, yeah.
you know, it's just like you know, it's like letting grass grow. However it grow, you
Yep.
know. But you know, it's not like a child. My relationship with my daughter is just that's my baby, man. That's my baby. That's my baby girl. I love her to death. That's her pictures all behind me. You know, that's just she's just my heart, man. You know, I tried to bond with her since a baby. You know, I always said that I wanted a little girl. I said that forever. I said I always wanted a little girl more than anything. Um, I because I wanted a cute little baby, man. I wanted to dress her up and you know like make her look cute and stuff. So that was it. You know, I wanted someone to call me daddy and you know things like that. And you know, it's today now. Well, even when she was a baby, you know, I would try to do stuff to her like she would only know it's me to do, like
Wow.
tickle her nose or pinch her cheeks or you know just it may seem like annoying to her now because she can't stand none of that stuff now, but I don't care because I try to keep the consistency of what we have and like the bond that we have. And you know, she's 8 now and the things that we do, like she'll still get on my back and want to do piggyback rides or you know, sometimes she just want to sit and watch her YouTube, but you know, I do my best to connect with her. You know, I told her that I'll always be here for you. Whenever you ever need me for something, talk to me. Come talk to your dad. I always tell her about being a good girl, growing up, working hard. Like, don't ask me for something if you don't have a purpose for it. I know you want toys and you don't really have to have a reason for toys, but give me something, man. Tell me why you want it. Tell me why you like it. Don't just say, oh, because I scrolled past it and I saw it on TV. Tell me why you want it. Give me a reason, because you're going to need a reason. You're going to need purpose, in life. And I don't want her thinking that every time you think you got to have something, it's just because you've seen it. That's just not, you don't want her to be settling for anything just because she saw it or because someone else have it, because everything everybody else have isn't for you.
It's not.
And,
exactly.
I try to I try to show her, teach her what the value of $1 is. I try to be smart with her about that. I explain to her about business things that I do. Like, I break it down to elementary level for her so she can understand. I try to have her in the kitchen with me, showing her how to cook stuff. And, I started cooking at the age of 3. My mom had me make an omelet at 3 years old. And the only thing she did was crack the eggs, and everything else that you could do, I did.
Yo, and, hold on. You were making an omelet at 3, fam?
All 3? She did was crack the eggs. I put the salt and pepper. 3 years old, Monmouth Avenue, up, bro. I'm dead serious, man. I made an omelet, and I remember her saying, "I think I got something here."
Wow.
And I knew how to flip it with the spatula. It was a white spatula. Now I got a memory. I remember me doing that, and like, I loved cooking since, because I always wanted to just learn about food. That and running track. That was like the only 2 things I wanted to do. And since age 3, she's been cooking in the kitchen. She's been cooking. She's been making.
I hate to interrupt, but there's a few things that I want to, because you dropped jewels. The first thing you said, you start talking about these little things that you would do that only she knew you would do, like the whole nose thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I remember that as a girl dad myself, and me and my daughter had this thing with our elbows, like, and this is going back to when she was a baby. Like, she would rub my elbow whenever she was tired. And now, she's 12 years old, and when I know, like, she getting tired, that's what she does. And it's like, that's our thing. And I watch videos of you,
right.
Your daughter dancing in the car. She, like, because even Skills was like, yo, she's mad cool. And I'm like, these things don't cost money, fam. These things that you just mentioned don't cost money. And sometimes as dads, as moms, we think it's all about bringing joy through purchasing things and buying things. But when you start breaking down things like this, that's powerful, fam. Like that's really, it seems little, but that's deep. Having those kind of rituals.
Yeah, like the monetary things don't last.
True.
Yeah, those things don't last, man. Like the monetary things, they don't last, man. Like trying to think that satisfies kids. It glitters, it shines, it's cool to look at, but shirts and clothes and shoes and toys, all that you grow out of. Those things have an expiration. Something, whatever comes first, the person's gonna grow out or the things are gonna grow old. Like it comes with expiration. But the things that you teach, the things that you do with your child, and I actually got the idea from watching the movie Face Off, because if John Travolta used to tell his daughter, go like this, he went like this to her all the time. And that's how he did what his wife, and she didn't know who he was. He went like this to her. So she like, this is me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I've been doing that with her all the time. And sometimes I could just walk by her still today and just go like this.
And she
And
know what
she'll
time
look.
it is.
You know,
Wow.
like she just knows me. It's like it's just a connection. It's just a good bond we have, you know. We did the Eskimo thing until she just looks at me like, you know, chill out, back up a little, dad, you know. But you know, like that's just our thing, man. You know, we bond like that, you know. Like you know, she likes to dance, she likes to sing. You know, I try to do little TikToks with her, or we just have fun. We've been doing that forever, though.
Before
We've been
all of
behind
this,
she
yes.
knows with the camera,
Yes.
pictures, videos.
Yes.
She like everyone that see her, yeah, like before all the girl dad thing, like I was doing that with her, you know, and
Mhm.
I was doing it just to show like how much fun I'm having, not for like accolades, not for pats on the back when
Mhm.
you see me in public, you know, but you know, I want I'm a you know, I'm a semi-popular dude just as far as cooking goes, and like,
Uh-huh.
but I'd rather just to be about cooking than not me being about a dad, because that's just something I like doing, is you know, cooking. But my being a dad, being a father is that's what I gotta do. So if you want to
That
thank me for doing that, cool. But you know, it's just like we were having fun with that, you know, years ago, you know.
true. True. And it's, you know, I think that as a dad myself, I'm always thinking about how to be a better dad and how to be a better parent. Um, and sometimes, you know, as parents, we get like weak, like, yo, am I doing a good job? And am I meeting all her needs? Am I meeting all of my son's needs? And it's like this constant pressure to be dope as a parent. And that is why I like, you know, in this situation, this conversation that we just had was, this is serious, fam, because people need to hear this, chef. Like, people need to hear like what you just dropped down in real talk. I even said it, like you was doing the girl dad thing before the girl dad thing. Like, and I ain't even into I haven't been into all of the TikTok, all of the dancing. And when I would watch your videos, I'd be like, yo, they having fun. And then it makes me start thinking of like, yo, I want to have fun with my kids. Like, this is the kind of fun, I want to have my kids. And I think that folks need to hear that, So, I think that that's why it's important that we take time to normalize fatherhood, especially in the Black community, because you're right. This is, like you said, this is what I'm supposed to
Yeah,
do as a father. Real talk. And I truly understand that and believe it. But I'm telling you, folks need to hear it of like, yo, this is how we move as Black dads. This is how we move, and we are out here. So I thank you for getting into that. I thank you for being, sincere and opening up and sharing some of that world with us, bro. I really do. I really do.
yo, beloved, listen, real quick. Being just to touch base on like real quick about being a father, man. Like I didn't know nothing. I didn't know what to do or how to maneuver that position. You know what I'm saying? Like something that
Mhm.
I'm in that I have to be. You know, like I used to look up to like there's a handful of fathers that I was around all the time who I looked up to about what they do as a father. I had to go
Mhm.
to them or listen to them or see any problems that they may have encountered and
Mhm.
see like how did you handle it, or what how do you do this, like how do you do that, like these guys are super dope dudes. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them, man, because they know who they is. A lot
Yeah.
of those brothers still to this day, they're around. They talk to me, and I look up to them, man. Like Raheem Carter, Bobby
True.
Scott, you know, my man Bullet, Derek Turner, um,
Mm.
and I see a lot of like the Tidy, what I'm saying, he's strong with his girls, and he he's a good dude, man. You know, I got one girl, and he got a lot of girls, you know. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know, it's
yeah,
dudes like that I look up to, like, man, you know, these dudes got a good structure. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
they got good structure. So I'm paying attention to these dudes. You know, like you know, the Raul Rivera's. You know, like these guys, like I pay attention to, and I've paid attention to them. So salute to, it's not just me, man, because you know I've watched them and I've gotten some notes. I've taken some notes from a lot of them. So you know, salute to a lot of them dads, and even some that I haven't really been around, but I know that they're doing a good job too. So salute to
I
all dads, man.
Yo, I love it. I love it. Paying homage. You know, you mentioned some folks out there that, you know, when I start talking about the list that I have, you know, and some of those brothers that you just mentioned are on that list. You know, and definitely a shout out to them as dads, you know, and then even as individuals, you know, because a lot of the folks you mentioned, fam, they have risen over like crazy obstacles, like to be, you know, like the dads
Right.
that they are. You know what I'm saying? So definitely a shout out and a salute. You even mentioned my cousin, you know, Tidy, you know, you mentioned Raheem, you mentioned Bullet. Like those are folks that like I know them, you know, I know they people, and I know what they have transpired, you know, it through to become, you know. So definitely a salute, you know, to those folks. Definitely, definitely. So, yo, I think back to a
Word.
time I ran into you, and you probably ain't gonna remember it. We was at the Tinton Falls outlet, and I was coming into the outlet. You were leaving the outlet, and we saw each other. We embraced, and you was like telling me like some of the things that you were working on. This is well over, this is like 10 years or so. This is at least 9, 10 years ago. And one of you know, you were talking about this like chef thing. You were talking about like culinary. You were talking about all of this, man. You probably don't remember it, but what I want to start getting into in this second half hour of our show is starting to talk about the journey that you went on to becoming what we know now as Chef Chris. Like we talked about the early years growing up. We talked about, you know, your experiences as a dad, you know, how important those experiences are. And then I'm like, yo, I want folks to hear your story in terms of like becoming an entrepreneur, bro. You know, and you had to rise, like I say, from the phoenix, from ashes to do that. So if you don't
Word.
mind going back, bro, like, cause real talk, Chris, people need to hear these stories because there's somebody out there right now that's in a situation, a jam. Let's call it. That's what we call it. I'm in the jam. It's folks in the jam that are looking for some kind of inspiration of like, yo, how can I overcome this? Like, is it anything after this for me? So if you can share like your transformation and how you know rose to who you are now and what you had to go through to do that.
Oh man, this is the good part right here. I ain't even so yeah, man. I don't really recall. I don't recall the conversation. I know I seen you out there. I just don't recall the conversation. But it took a lot of tenacity, man. It took a lot of tenacity. Um, I I don't. I knew years ago that um, I never wanted to let my mom down. You know, just growing up, not knowing if I like she's not going to be here to see me progress the way I want, the way I promised her. It was either I was going to run track or be a chef. Um, you know, dabbling in schools and vocational and stuff like that, along with me doing track. And I wasn't fast enough in track, so I gave up track. But I started gravitating more towards the kitchen because that's what my that's where it all was. It came from, and I started doing home ec in school with Miss Melody Alderman. which
True,
I gotta
true.
find her to this day and thank her, because I took her class 2 times, and I failed once, and just to go back twice. And then when I went back and I said I want to a 3rd year, she says I can't take you. I took up sewing class
Just to be with her.
be with her.
Wow.
Just to be with her, I took up sewing class.
Wow.
I can make a pillow, bro. Don't get it twisted. I can sear some fish, but I can make a pillow too. So you know what I'm saying? So I took that class, man, just so I could be. I wanted to soak up everything that she knew.
Mm.
You know, I wanted to be just like her, and you know, like just.
That's deep. That's deep.
My life was about trying to be happy about what I wanted to do in life, and it was food. Food was I learned trying to learn so much about food. And anybody know me, I'm food to the heart. I'm culinary to the heart, down to the soul. And in order for me to continue what I wanted to do, I had to just not give up, man. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people do know, but a lot of people don't know that I was incarcerated 4 months after high school. You know, stepped outside of myself and
wow.
For no rhyme or reason, man. Just I stepped outside of myself, tapping into an ignorant part of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like letting the devil, letting negativity settle on my best part, and you know, I just became a wicked person for a very, very short amount of time, and it cost me 10 years of my life. You know, I did my whole 20s. I did my entire 20s in prison. So I don't know what it's like being out here when certain things was going on, or growing up with a certain education, and I know everybody that I grew up with had a 10-year head start where mine stopped. You know, I stopped, and I went from being a young kid to going straight to being an adult.
Wow.
So like I went straight into responsibility of trying to protect my life now, not trying to grow anymore, but now I went into protection. Because now I have to be in a bowl, I have to be in a box full of super negative, a super negative atmosphere in an environment that could physically make me crumble, or it can mentally just fold me. And I've witnessed and I've watched individuals, people with 2 years, 3 years, 5 years to do, all the way up until 40, 50, 6 years to do. And it's crazy because I used to hang around individuals in prison who wasn't coming home. And I thought that why be around them? It's like, you know, I feel like they've got a lot more to learn. They've got a lot more to understand. They've lost a lot. They will continue to lose more time. And I didn't want to really, you know, have myself around individuals who probably are going home 5 years before me, because I don't feel like I wanted to learn a lesson. And I wanted to learn a lesson. And, you know, instead of me thinking like, you know, I got arrested, I got rescued. So I went back to school in there, and I took up culinary. I had to go to another institution. And I took it up then.
So you were locked down when you first start taking culinary classes?
No, I was home. I was in vocational. I used to go to a place up in New Brunswick, and I was taking culinary classes then. We're talking like doing culinary home economic classes back in the early 90s, mid 90s, all the way up until 99. I was doing that. No, I took the classes, and then they found out that I was too short to take classes, but I had credits. I couldn't continue my classes, but I just had the credits. So I took my credits and I just rolled with it until I got out. But I used to tell individuals in jail, in prison, like, you know, hey man, I'm gonna be a chef. He's like, you ain't be no chef, man. What you gonna cook jail food? What you gonna cook jail food for the rest of your life? You gonna put a hook up with soup and mayonnaise and tuna and chicken and I'm like, nah, man. I'm gonna really go out there and make stuff that like the cop be over there eating, and you know what I'm saying. I want to go cook stuff like that, and shout out to my then supervisor in the prison who's on my Facebook, and I hope he's watching. But I learned a lot from him, man, because he hired me in the prison. And I still text him to this day, every day, and he tells me how proud he is of me because I told him in jail, I'm going to be a chef when I get out.
Damn.
And he never looked at me like I was crazy because I would be learning a lot from him. I would learn how to do business and how to orchestrate and how to lead a crowd. I was running the kitchen in prison. And so I took that energy of like, man, I'm not gonna be no institutional breakdown. I'm not gonna be no one that be like, oh, this cat if I don't tell you I was in prison, you ain't gonna never know.
True.
Because I don't walk around showing that. I don't wear it on my sleeve, I didn't walk around like that. And I took that, I ran with it, and I started taking courses when I got to a halfway house from Philadelphia. I was taking courses over there and like just trying to like get back in. I took a couple 6-7 month courses over there while I was in there, and I would stay down in South Jersey, and then I said, I need to get back to Long Branch just for resources, and I feel like I know more people, and I feel like people are going to start gravitating to me more. That's what happened, man. I got out of prison January 1st, 2010, and I've been working since. I've been working since. I got a job working at the UGG store, the boot store, and I was there. You know what I'm saying? For like 5 years. And when people looked at me like, you crazy, what you doing at a like, well, I gotta build that up, man. I was going
Hold up. Which UGG store were you at?
The only UGG store down in our area, man. I was working there for 5 years, man. 5 years.
So that's probably where
I was working.
That's probably when we ran into each other.
Yeah. Yeah, it was there. I was working there. I was working at another store across the way. I would leave one store, take a shirt off, and go to the next store and go to work every single day, man, because I wanted to hustle.
That was the hustle.
I wanted to hustle. And they were, I stayed there, and I'm like, I don't care what people say because I worked in a boot store. But like, I was making $160 a month working in prison. $160 a month. You think I care because I'm working in an UGG store? No, I don't care. I don't care. And there's plenty of people that I'm super, super close with. I would never think that would, look down on me about it. But I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Because I needed to get somewhere. And and before that, I was wiping toilets at McDonald's. I didn't care.
Damn.
I did that.
I
had that job in the halfway house, and I kept it when I came home from prison. You know what I mean? So like my goal was to still be a chef. So secretly, I went back to school locally because I know I wasn't going anywhere. I went back. I graduated at the Brick House Tavern and Tap over there on 66.
True.
I was the second person hired. There, and I took that job, and I moved up. Started becoming, learning the job, learning the kitchen and things like that. And, I was over there making like 12, 13 bucks an hour, doing like 30 hours a week. But I had the structure, and I was learning how to work the kitchen and be a manager and do things like that. And ultimately I tested myself. I said, man, I don't know what salary is, but I'm about to go find me a job that makes salary. I said I set 6 goals for myself, and one of them was making a salary job. And I got another job. I started doing that. I was there for a couple of years, and I went to South Jersey, got another salary job, making more. Then I took another job, making more money than that. And you know, I started tapping into the things that I started honing into a lot of things that I want to just test myself on. Like I set 6 goals for myself, bro. I said I wanted to get my first place. I wanted to get a car. I wanted to get my first apartment. I want to get a salary job. I want to be on a cooking show, and I want to be on TV and on a newspaper. And I wanted to do all of those things in 5 years, and I did it all in 3. And like that was just my thing, man. And you know, as far as like the business and how I became an entrepreneur, like I started selling food out the house, started selling cakes and stuff, and people started seeing me post food at my job and stuff like that. So, you know, and I used to make a lot of jokes on Facebook. I used to make a lot of jokes on Facebook about chicken, whether it was rapping songs or something that's about chicken and watermelon, the stuff that people will be swearing it's just a black thing, you know, oh, you know, you're a coon or, you know, another black person, you know, niggas love, like, you know, they love chicken and watermelon or whatever. But, you know, I was making a joke, but 5-6 years later, it was chicken that got me on a TV show.
Yeah,
you know, true. It was chicken. Now I built a religion around me and chicken. And now I went on the show and just so happened it was about chicken. And then, you know, I was on Chopped and stuff like that. And, you know, I started using that as a platform. And I said, you know what, everybody wants this chicken. Everybody wants my food. Let me make this happen. And, you know, I started figuring out a plan, and shout out to Tasha Brown, who's been always been in my corner from like day one. She helped me get my business up and running, and you know, she's on my heels all the time about things, and like you know, when I'm slipping, she's on me. When I question, she's on me. So she's always like, you know, she helped me get my business situated. You know, like, and it's successful. You know, I've always wanted to cater, always wanted to do a catering thing, but like it never was easy, man. It's not easy. It's not easy, not even in the pandemic, not even before the pandemic. You know, just being a black man, being a businessman, dealing with a lot of fluctuating.
Yo, bro, we gotta pause. You went on like 10 minutes. That can be 10 episodes. And I know already.
Bad,
like I'm sitting here and I'm like, I thought I knew this brother. Like, you dropping some jewels. Like, fam, we ain't even get into what you're doing now, which is a good thing, because I really see a second, third, maybe episode with you. Because I want to go back. I just want to go back for a bit. Right. I want to go back because I'm listening to all of this and it's blowing me away, fam, because I'm like, I thought I had challenges. Like you just explained, you went away for 10 years, right? And within those 10 years, you found a way to begin, believe it or not, to perfect a craft. Okay. Like you started the process of perfecting a craft, and you built a determined idea of what you were going to be. Like, this is what I'm going to do. You start talking about these goals. Like I created 6 goals to achieve in 5 years. Yo, this is mastermind. This is mastermind level. Like, this is the level of mastermind. These are the lessons that if we start teaching our kids, all right, we're going to create 6 goals to achieve in 5 years. You start changing generations. What I want to just go back to, if you don't mind, and bro, when I tell you back, I gotta get you back on another show. But because we haven't even gotten to the show Enough Wings that I first tasted, and I was like, yo, what? Like these wings, like, yo, what? We didn't even get to that.
Listen, don't even bring them up, man. I got people right now they probably inbox me right now. Chris, look, you better make them wings. You ain't did them in a long time. Don't even do me like that, man. You gonna put me under the gun now.
Word is bond
already.
Word is bond, Chris. When
let me lock my door, man.
When you put that, you was putting like these contests on, right? And I was like, I'm gonna keep guessing. I'm gonna get one of these contests right. And you would put like, how many jelly beans? I won. And when we got those wings, fam, like, my wife, my kids was like, these wings, like, and I'm like, we ain't even touch on that yet. But I just feel like, real talk, man, what was it that inspired you, when you were away, that was like, it's more for my life? Because I can't speak from this perspective because I've never been in that perspective, but I'm sure that there may be some brothers and sisters out there that are like, I'm jammed up like this. And how did you develop like a vision of like seeing yourself outside of that condition? How did you do it?
I like I said, I did something that I shouldn't have done, and I stunted my growth. And I do feel like if I had the 10 years that I took away from myself, I would be in a position right now where some of my friends are, that I would be a lot more comfortable in, And I always say, I don't know what it's like I don't know what they're doing as I'm looking out this thick 2-inch glass that's this big, and I used to see the cars of the cops, the correctional officers and stuff like that, get in their cars, they change shifts, and I used to just look out the same window for years and years at a time. And I said, you know what? I'm going to get out of here one day, and I'm never going to look back. I'm never going to go into one's prison. I'm never going to be in this. I'm never going to sit next to someone. I don't want to share a shower with nobody. I don't want to hear no one else talk gangster. I don't want to hear nobody be on shooting me down, shooting the next brother down. I'm tired of watching people come into prison, coming back into prison, new people leave, new people. It just get tired. And I said, I don't want to be one of those people. I thought to myself, do I have what it takes to come back to prison? At times, like, heck no. But then when I got home and I said, it's very easy for me to fall in that recidivism rate, man. It's easy for me to catch myself slipping because I don't have what everybody else has. How do I go get money like this? Do I go rob somebody? Do I go do this? Do I go pick up a pack or something? Do I want something quick? I want to dang, do I go do all this? Because I want what I want. Everybody else is like, well, I want to get there. I don't want to be like fast and stuff like that.
True.
I want to go get it.
True.
And I'm like, then I just be thinking, I say, man, I can't. I don't want to be in my room at 9:00 every night. I don't want to get up at 7. I have to get up. I don't want to do that for another 10 years. I don't want to watch officers come to work and leave just to come tell me what to do. Yeah. I don't want to go through that no more. I don't want to ask people to send me money. There was a time I haven't asked nobody to send me no money in prison. I said, I don't want no favors no more. I said, I want to feel this pain so hard where I don't want to need anybody for nothing like that, because it's not your fault that I'm here. It's mine.
Wow.
And I'd rather beat myself up enough where I'm like, man, it's not gonna happen again. I used to just tell myself all the time, man, that it's just not. When I always see something wrong, I think about what's right. I do my best to not like steer left too much, but sometimes even going left is not a bad thing. Sometimes the stuff that you don't need to get to is steering right.
True.
I just always reminded myself, man, never to put myself in that position again. I always said, like, I would never put myself in a position where someone has control over me like I did, like that. And that's me putting myself in a position where if I don't be a man, society, the penal system, the justice system, they'll be a man for me if I don't know how to be one.
Yes.
And I said, I rather. So when everyone was out here doing this, and I came home and I was wondering, like, I want a purpose to stay here. I want to be here with everybody. I want to enjoy this, and I'm just grateful about everything that I have now. You know what I'm saying? I'm mad appreciative. Like there was times, man, like this pillow. I never owned a pillow. I never owned a garbage can or a remote control or a floor mat. I never owned an area rug or a candle or a pair of scissors. The stuff that y'all had for years, for them 10 years, I didn't have, man. And now I appreciate things like that. I appreciate little things, microwaves, and it sounds crazy, but I appreciate, because there's times I didn't have all those things, and that's the stuff I took for granted.
Bro,
so I constantly remind myself, like, no one is above that.
True. No, yo, you struck a nerve, fam, because I even think about everything you said. I think about even my younger brother, shout out to my younger brother, Corey, who got jammed up right out of high school. And what you are explaining are the kind of conversations we would have when he was jammed up. True.
He was with me.
Yes. So it's like, I feel you. When I say I feel you, yo, because, and not that I was there, but living that outside of it, as you explained, that 2-inch, window, like living outside of that glass, it's like, yo, our freedom gone. And it's really fitting, Chris, that you share what you share, man, because I think, like, when I watch you on social media and I see what you posting, I see you on vacation, I see you doing your thing, getting the business, and I'm like, yo, those are the roses. The brother's starting to smell those roses. But then I'm like, yo, I want people to understand, like, when it wasn't fly. Like, it wasn't fly for me. I had to go through that to get to this, and as we reach an hour, I'm like, if there's ever been a time of a second episode, yo, we haven't even gotten to, and it's like, but I felt like we needed to do this, bro. I felt like we needed, because, like, if we just got into all of the great things you're doing now, it's a disservice. It's a disservice, because I really feel like, and you may disagree or agree, I feel like you had to go through that hell to be who you are and do what you're doing now. I feel like that was important, to you appreciating your moment right now, like that was important. And hopefully you will agree to being back on, but I like to be conscientious of time. But I really want to get you back on, because then I really feel like we need to hit part 2 of, after, you leave your situation to being jammed up and understanding, and then moving into entrepreneurship. Like, cause I'm curious, and I didn't shout out to Tasha Youngblood. You mentioned, like, I'm curious to, like, yo, how you even get to the point of, like, I got a business? Like I'm like, we got to go through that process of finding, like, how did you move you move mountains, you move mountains, fam. So what I'd like to do, though, even though we're going to come back and we're going to finish this up, I'd like to ask guests advice to your high school self, advice to your younger self. What would it be? What would it be?
If I could talk to my high school self now, I would warn myself about not thinking twice. I would say, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to like fail. Like, don't be afraid to like not do something, but also be mindful of the things that you can do that you won't have a second chance at.
Wow.
Just think twice about what your second chances are. Don't just jump out there and be so spontaneous about so many things that everything don't everything that shine is just not gold.
True.
And that's what I thought. Everything was good. Everything was okay. Like nothing can happen to me. But I'm an example of it can happen. It can happen to any of us. And it's all about we all being the sole controllers. Like it's all about us. We have that control of our minds and things that happen to us.
True.
So just realize that be a second guesser at things. Like don't jump at every action. Make sure you think. Make sure you think twice. If you feel like you're still weary, think 3 times. But that's what I would tell myself, man. Because I think that was where I didn't think I didn't think enough. I didn't think enough. I went off reaction. I went off of feeling. I didn't go off of like how it really would affect me and affect other people. And now I see if I did more good and if I projected that energy to the things I'm projecting now, I would have 100 times more of the feedback and the good energy that I'm getting now. I would have that back in 99. So everything I'm starting that now. I started that 10 years ago, but I'm really just starting to live. I'm starting to get it where people are convinced, like, I built a religion around all of that. So I felt like I would have told myself, think twice before you do something.
It's so much more to uncover, man. You got volumes. Like I'm thinking of another 2 episodes, fam. Real talk. And you blessed us. You truly blessed us. And I appreciate, you being candid, and being real and going back and telling those stories that I think folks need to hear. I really, really, really think folks, I appreciate it being dropped on the show. I really do. Because I'm all about, this is what I'm all about, man. I'm all about like, things may be down, things may not be great. How do we get through that? How do we persevere through that? How do we build ourselves up with our community and with people who supported you to be who you are today? And what you dropped today, Chris, has got me inspired, yo. Real talk is really, and like I said, I thought I knew like so much, and I'm like, yo, you really blessed the show, fam, and I appreciate you for that. Real talk. The show needed that.
I'm down to come back, man, and talk. It's just I feel like we as a people, like our people help me by giving me a lot of words of encouragement. And like I said, it can happen to any one of us.
True.
And there is no age limit on failure. There's no age limit on doing wrong and getting your life taken away from you. It doesn't happen at a young age, and then you realize that some people are still at my age now, 40, and still haven't tapped into their purpose and the things that they need to do. Granted, I got a second chance to come in and tap into who I am and what I need to do. I started late. but hey, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I had a lot of options, man. I had a lot of options to be buried, or be in a hospital, or be forever, or be in a jail for forever and a day. They opened up the doors and they said, "Go fail again. Go ahead, you come back." And I said, "Nah, man.
It ain't happening.
I got stuff to do tomorrow. I ain't going back to nobody's jail. I got stuff to do tomorrow, you know."
Yo,
I got stuff to do tomorrow. I ain't going back to nobody's jail, bro.
That is a great. That's what we're gonna pick up on the next episode. What that we do together, and I'm gonna be in contact.
Word.
We're gonna pick up from it ain't happening. I got things to do tomorrow. Like I'm in that, because I think that's the second side of the story that folks need to hear, of building a business, building a brand, and then making that brand to be about service and creating memories for other people. And that's what I love most about your brand. And that's what I want to get into when we do our next episode, bro. That's what we're getting into. We're gonna be like, all right, I'm good on this. Next steps, the next moments in my life, this is what we're doing. So I appreciate you, for taking the time out of your schedule to be here with us. It really means a lot to me, fam. It really does. And I want to say out to the community, hopefully y'all got jewels. You got a lot of love in the chat tonight, Chris. A lot of folks watched tonight. Like you definitely one of the higher viewers in terms of people checking in and saluting you. So keep doing the things that you're doing. When I come back calling, just be ready. I'm thinking like I'm gonna try to do it around Thanksgiving time, because I just think like that cooking, I think you need to be around that time. So hopefully if you're not too busy, I'm gonna be reaching back out, around that time to try to get you on the episode. Yeah, around then. But in this community, purpose and practice, and Chris said it a few times tonight, that's what we're about: finding your purpose and then practicing that purpose. And when you continue to do that, you're going to make it a reality of whatever it is you want to achieve. It's going to be a reality, fam. And that's what we know and understand, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to all y'all out there in the human family of the planet Earth. Love, peace, and happiness and health, because it's a lot of us out there who are struggling mentally or physically. Take care of yourselves, take care of your family, check in on your family, and do all of those things. Once again, last shout out to our brother, the chef, Chris Burnett. Thank you for joining us. And we're going to go out on my brother, Mr. Encore, and the great intro and outro that, he provided for the show. We're going to say peace, and we will see you next week on the next episode of the Purpose and Practice podcast with your host, Dr. Rossdale.
It's a 9-core banger. Dr. Ross dropping knowledge to the masses. Man, you now tuned in to purpose and practice. Purpose and practice. Keep your mental sharp. Learn all the tactics. Dr. Ross dropping knowledge to the masses. Man, you now tuned in to purpose and practice. Purpose and practice. Podcast game. He got it mastered. It's encore.